Back-to-back battle for the boroughs.
Yeah.
2 dances in 3 nights. Knicks, Nets, both at the Garden. You mentioned this earlier. Fascinating thought. One game's a cup game, one's not. Gryffindor sweep last year. Knicks 4-0 against Brooklyn. Obviously, Bridges' storyline going against his old team. Probably a lot of emotions in this one. Always is. You know, younger brother, older brother.
Sure.
Talk to me about the matchup, though. Anything you're looking at in particular head-to-head, Brooklyn versus New York.
Yeah, man. The Nets have been the most undervalued team in the NBA to start the year. They're 9-2 ATS. That's the best record in the NBA. 7-1 ATS as an underdog. No one expected much of the Nets coming in, and they played really hard. And they have a lot of guys that they can go to on the bench. That they're overall a deep squad.
Low key.
The Nets. They have a guy that can fill it up in Cam Thomas, and is not scared to fill it up.
No.
I think there's one thing that people don't realize when it comes to like guys like Cam Thomas. You have to be a special individual to even get up that many jumpers, to even play like that offensively. You have to have there has to be a certain mental thing about you where you have the moxie to show up every night and take 25 shots.
He is a rare shooting guard in the league where I'm like, I haven't really heard him talk before. He's an introverted shooting guard, and he puts up stats.
And he could fill it up. His efficiency from 3 has gone up. He's taken less deep 2s. That's where people made fun of him. This guy just goes out there and just is shooting all types of wild stuff, right? He's getting to the cup more. His deep 2 percentage is still really good. So they got a big-time scorer in Cam Thomas that could play. Overall, they know they got dusted off last year 4-0. They have a new coach in Fernandez, I believe his name is. So they're going to come ready to play. NBA Cup. It's going to be fun on Friday night.
I guess from a matchup standpoint, guy like Claxton, guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, these are real two-way players.
Cam Johnson, they're all there.
I expect it to be relatively physical, at least Friday night for the Cup, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Brooklyn has been showing up every single night. I think the one thing about Brooklyn is they have a lot of guys that we're not sure if they're going to be on the same team, but they all expect to be somewhere else contributing to a major squad. So it's almost like they're all trying to prove themselves to everyone else in the league.
Which makes it a little dangerous if you're going against them because it's kind of playing
loose. Yeah, loose and hard. And then they have a new coach that's bringing in a new philosophy that has them playing well. So it's going to be a really fun matchup.
And just talking all things Bridges versus the X, obviously, I look at these matchups in the NBA night to night from a prop perspective. Bridges going against the old team. Is there animosity? Is there not as much build up to what we think it would be?
I think this was more of just a stopover for Bridges. I don't know how connected he was to the Nets. Brooklyn. I don't know how connected he was overall to the franchise or Brooklyn, if he felt like they ingratiated him. And it's been pretty negative around the Nets, especially last year.
Do you feel like
the culture, there was no culture. They were a bad team. People laughed at them with Ben Simmons and that whole thing.
Yeah.
The culture's a lot better now, but there was games where if you watched it, Bridges would just kind of give the ball to Cam Thomas, and Cam Thomas would just shoot it 30 times.
Just take
turns. It was just, there wasn't a lot of culture, right? So,
do they want to stick it on Bridges? Do you think that we get a very physical?
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think any of that is there.
Not even other way.
Yeah, I don't think any of that is there for me. That's personally what I think. I haven't talked to Mikal. I don't know how if he's trying to go stick it to them. I think the overall big picture thing is the Knicks are trying to get this sorted so they could really start to be impactful against, some of the big time squads.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hosting a cup game, going to be riveting. Off a night of rest too, so should get a full effort. All right, we got
both
a fun
games.
Yeah, both games. We got a fun way to end this. Our producers set up a starting 5 borough
Mine
match.
is perfect, by the way.
I feel like mine's perfect.
Are we going to do?
You're closer to New York.
Are you going to do 5 in a row, and I'm going to go 5? Or are we going to go?
Should we go 5 in
you
a row?
want to go?
I think let's go like
per borough.
Yeah, per borough.
Okay,
per borough.
Right. All right, should we start out with the Bronx?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, start out with the Bronx.
So just to be clear, we're matching up Knicks starters with what borough in New York we think they match up.
Yeah, Knicks starter, 5 boroughs.
5 boroughs, 5
for
starters.
For a San Diego kid, you come here, Long Island's not a borough. I'm
True.
already failing in Jeopardy. What is not Long Island?
Sure.
All right, 5 starters, 5 boroughs. We go to the Bronx. This guy's a Yankees fan, and this guy, to me, he's got the heartbeat of the city on some level. plural, pun intended. And I feel like Josh Hart, Mr. Triple-Double, matches the Bronx from a DOG standpoint. I think kind of Yankees fans. I think Billy's. I think, would Josh Hart fit in? Not only would he fit in, he'd be getting a table at Billy's.
Okay.
I got to go Josh Hart, Bronx.
Well, this is you're wrong. And this is easy for me because the Bronx is Cat. Where do the Dominicans in New York hang out? The Bronx. Who's Dominican? Cat. This is an easy one. Cat is the Bronx. There, he goes up there, hangs out. He can speak the language. He flies the same flag. He can eat the food. He's a little bit of an interesting character. I know a lot of Dominicans. They're all interesting characters. Look at the baseball field. So Cat in the Bronx. Easy for me.
Do you see the Hart in the Bronx?
I get what you're saying, but Cat is the Bronx of the starting
All right, let's go to Queens. Shout out Kevin James. Who is the king of Queens on this starting five? Who you got?
You want to come back to me?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's do a little fantasy snake draft. Let's go you twice.
This is where Josh Hart presides.
Wow.
The Queens is known as the world's borough.
Is it?
Aimé Leon Dore, that connection with Kith, Ronnie, who's the creative director.
Sure.
For the Knicks, the ALD's theme, Queens is the world's borough. Hart does a little bit of everything. His game is you could, how about this? Josh Hart could walk on any pickup game in the world and impact. He can rebound if you want him to. He can play D if you want to. He can shoot it if you want him to. Josh Hart, the world's borough, Queens, the most versatile, one of the most versatile guys in the entire NBA.
I like
Josh Hart in Queens.
I went, my late grandma's from Queens. I got a little bit of family ties to Queens. Grew up in a Mets household. A lot of suffering. I just think about, it could be a little bit of that here, but Queens has a lot of dog. They do a lot well on both sides, and I think who does that on this team? And I go to Bridges, a two-way player, shows up to work every day. That's very much a Queens person, or at least the humble relatives I have. Our guy Ben, obviously a Mets fan. I think about Mets fans. They show up, and whether they win or lose, they intend on showing out. And I feel like that's Bridges.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
That was a little bit of a high pitch. You're like, I don't love it.
I'm not mad
at
that.
All right, I feel like I know who you're going to go with now in Manhattan. Talk to me about your Manhattan pick for this Knicks starting five.
Yeah, it's the captain, Jalen Brunson. Who else would you pick for Manhattan?
I got my pick.
The busiest, most important borough in New York is Manhattan. The most important guy on the New York Knicks who makes them go, and once he figures out this new chemistry, the Knicks are going to absolutely skyrocket. Jalen Brunson, he's the captain. Manhattan is the captain of New York. His dad's the mayor.
That's
Mr.
fair.
Brunson
That's fair.
is on the bench
That's true.
for the Knicks. He's the mayor of Manhattan. Jalen Brunson's Manhattan.
I got a good pushback for that. I got to wait on it because I don't have JB from Manhattan. I go to Cat.
Okay.
In large part because he's from Jersey, but he's the latest member on the team, and he comes to town, and I think he embodies a little bit of the celebrity status that is Manhattan. It's a little Hollywood-esque. If I were relating this as a comp to where I, grew up and lived in LA. I grew up in San Diego, lived in LA almost a decade. Cat, he dresses for Manhattan, very stylish, very, very outgoing. I feel like JB comes to work and he leaves the borough. And I know if I had to guess where he's going to post up, because,
Cat's got the influencer girlfriend. They're hanging out at the posh spots.
Jordan Woods. He's taking pictures. He's he's wearing all the hot gear. That's very Manhattan.
Sure.
In lockstep, I'll just go my turn. We're going Snake, Brooklyn. I think of Brunson. I think, shout out our boss, Talea. A lot of born and raised Brooklynites, if I said that correctly, feel like the heartbeat of the city is from Brooklyn. Brooklyn, you think about Jay-Z's of the world. How much do New Yorkers put on for other boroughs more than Manhattan? It's Brooklyn. So on some level, I feel like Brooklyn and again, I'm on my senior year on campus in New York, so I don't know it. You live in Brooklyn. I feel like it's got a great temp of the town. If you're from New York and you want to live the Manhattan life, but you're not a rookie, you live in Brooklyn. Now, I am a rookie. I live in Manhattan. But, like, I feel like Brunson's a veteran dude. This is a guy that, again, comes to work, goes back to his borough, but still has his pulse on the room, which is Brooklyn. So I went Brunson.
Okay. Well, look, so yeah, I'm not mad at that. My Brooklyn pick though is Mikal Bridges.
Okay.
Cool, laid back, relaxed. I think that's the vibe in Brooklyn. I live there. It's a lot less hectic than Manhattan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool fashion, cool people. People aren't making as much money as the people in Manhattan that are kicking it in Brooklyn. Very cultured. I like that. I think Mikal and Brooklyn fit together. A laid back part of town for the most part, for a very laid back individual. I don't know if I've ever seen Bridges even make an angry face, let alone raise his voice. And I feel like that matches Brooklyn very well.
I like that. So we're ending in lockstep.
Yes.
With Staten Island.
This was easy.
This is because I feel like he's all ball. He's all in.
Yeah.
You made the observation. He doesn't come decorated. He just shows up in a uni and dances. And I feel like Staten Island is a very hardworking part of New York.
Yeah.
Whether they come into the city or not. Shout out the movie. Just a lot of pride.
Yeah.
And OG plays with a lot of pride.
I'll tell you exactly what I wrote down.
Yeah.
OG. I know nothing about either one. OG or Staten Island. I don't know anything about OG Anunoby. But outside of that, he's an awesome hooper that straps up. Other than that, I know zero about OG because he doesn't tell anybody. He doesn't open up about anything. I know nothing about OG.
You feel like Staten Island.
And I'm from Chicago originally. I love New York. I've lived here on 2 separate stints.
Yeah.
I've been here for years now. I've never made my way to Staten Island. I know nothing about Staten Island.
Not even for a slice.
Not even for a slice. So, I know nothing about Staten Island, and I know nothing about OG Anunoby, and I think they go hand in hand.
There it is. Knicks starters match with Boroughs on the Juice Bar. That's our